and welcome to Strip Down Sunday. And my name is Reverend Ryan Alexander, and this is Soul Evolution Collaborative. And so, just before we jump into our message for today, a little bit of wrapping up of our theme this week, which has been redefining the good. I just wanted to cover a couple quick things. If you've never heard of Soul Evolution Collaborative and you're interested in learning more, jump on over to our website, soulevolutioncollaborative.org. You can play around there. There's tells a lot about what we are, what our vision is, what the things that we believe, and how we want to create a community that shows up in really powerful ways in the world. A couple of quick things. We have our O Shift Healing the Divide Summit that's coming up in November, and you can find more information on that at the website. And as always, if the messages, the things that we represent are things that are in alignment with you and you'd like to partner with us, there's so many ways you could do that, obviously with your presence and with your support and also with your financial donations. It's people like you that support communities like this that really help us to be a powerful impact in the world. So we have appreciated so many people partnering with us and the message, and then really building this community that is impacting the world in small and big ways. And so we appreciate everyone who is a part of this community and that supports this community. All right, so this month we have been talking about abundance. And so our main theme has been called Not Your Mama's Abundance. And so this idea of maybe some of these maybe older ideas or older concepts of prosperity and what that looks like, and how we can maybe shift our perspective in the thinking of prosperity. But prosperity is not just zeros or success or these sort of things that we kind of see manifested in the world, but instead it's this idea, this understanding, this overarching reality that we live in an abundant universe, a universe that is always giving, always growing, always moving. And so this week we've been talking about redefining the good. And I don't know about you, but I have heard this said, and I've probably said it myself too. This idea of, it'll be good when, or when this happens, then it'll be good, or I'll be happy, or things will be okay. And, I like to kind of call it the if when sort of syndrome. And, I have lapses of that myself, but really kind of be moving beyond this binary understanding of the good. And when I mean binary, I mean like this thing is good, this thing is bad. And our brains do that. Our brains do that in the world when we see things out pictured in the world, or we're just walking in nature. Our brains are always looking for for danger, or just categorizing the world around us. And so this is not a kind of a hey, don't do that sort of thing, but it's just an awareness that we do kind of operate in this binary. And so to begin to maybe stretch our understanding of what good is into this idea of the good, which, in religious science, what I would say, the good is represented as wholeness. It is all that is. So the good is not something that is, this thing is good, this thing is bad. And so this is the good over here. The things that we want to happen, the things that go right in our lives, that's the good. And everything else, something else. And so what we know about wholeness is that that's just really not the way it works. And so really seeing the good from a more expanded view, a view that everything is good because everything is represented in this wholeness of the universe. And so instead of this idea of delayed good, I'm waiting for my good, or I've got to go get my good, it becomes that idea of something we have to achieve or aspire to, or go grasp or get mine before someone else gets my good, as if it's this kind of temperamental, tangible thing that we have to go and get. But instead, maybe shifting our awareness to this understanding that the good is life, and that encompasses everything, all the aspects. And so this idea of wholeness, and I know we've done it so many times, like everything comes back to wholeness, but it really does. And so for me, this wholeness is an interesting concept, especially in this conversation about the good. And I must admit, until probably this year, I didn't really have a complete grasp on what wholeness meant. I've been around a church block a time or two, and I was pretty confident, that I understood my understanding of like spiritual concepts, and wholeness is one of those. Um, but the more I look at it, my previous understanding of wholeness was something that needed to be fixed or healed, or putting something together that was broken to make it whole again. And so, what I didn't even realize in this understanding is that it, it didn't even break the surface of the truth of what this word wholeness means. And it's so tempting to look at the experiences of our life and put them into categories, like I said before. The good, the bad, the pleasant, the unpleasant, the hey, give me more of this, and these things I could really do without, and I don't really want any more of that. And we just begin to live our life based on uh, the quantity of the things that we have in all these categories. And so, what if we flipped that process on the head and chose to look at each experience as part of wholeness? And so, in this conversation today, wholeness is the good. So, like, each experience part of the good. And that, in essence, that's kind of like the Cracker Jack prize to wholeness, that everything we experience is nudging us further and deeper into this radical understanding of our true nature. And not only our true nature, but the true nature of things, the true nature of the divine, the true nature of our interconnectedness of one another, the true nature of the universe. And, we're kind of like containers of Play-Doh after they've been enjoyed. Those colors that are all mixed up and a little lumpy. And I must admit, I didn't like to play with Play-Doh as a kid because I didn't like the colors mixing. But isn't that how life is? Our colors are mixing. We maybe are a little fuzzy or have lint attached to it, or all those things, whatever we've picked up along the way. But all of that creates this like beautiful, unique reflection of the totality of our experiences, just like all those colors mixed up and whatever, dirt and fuzz that's on the ground that a kid has been playing with. It just all gets put together into this kind of beautiful, unique reflection of the play and the enjoyment that has happened. And that's kind of like we are. And that's kind of like the understanding of wholeness, or the good. Life itself as the good, life itself as the activity. It becomes a representative of the totality of our experiences. And so, the good is not just those things that we want to happen, but instead, this understanding that there is always movement, there's always something going on, that the universe is always working and moving us forward, even though it doesn't feel like that. And so, instead of striving for some sort of secret formula or some sort of 1995 buy one get one free version of the good or wholeness, we're called to kind of recognize that all of the aspects of life support us. Those that we love, and those that we'd rather not have anyone, those aspects of us that we love, and those aspects of us that we'd rather no one see, that all that's part of wholeness. And so, this understanding of wholeness is not this idea that, well, there's going to be good things, there's going to be bad things, there's nothing we can do about it. So this is not a recipe for inactivity in our lives, but instead it's an understanding that all the things that we need, or the things that we are seeking, are already within us. And so the journey is to continue to look at those aspects of ourselves, to kind of wipe away the dust of our awareness, and allow those parts of the wholeness to be revealed. And when we can understand our true nature, our connection with the divine, our connection with one another, when we can understand that we are all part of wholeness, we are all part of the activity of life, then we can really begin to take serious look at systems and frameworks and things that we've created in our collective experience of what it means to be human that have created blocks and barriers to individuals' understanding of their wholeness. And so you kind of see the ripple effect that this understanding has, that there's not good and bad, but instead it's this totality of experiences, and that we have the ability to create an experience of life that supports everyone. And so our wholeness, that understanding and that idea of wholeness recognizes our ability to do that everything, the tools that we have in order to create a world that is supported, a world that where love and peace and joy and justice and equanimity are the norm, that idea of the good that is encompassed in all of those things is not something we have to wait for. It's not something that we have to do the right things to get, but instead it is already within us. It is the activity of the universe to be supportive. So therefore, as participants in that, we have all that is within us to be supportive in those ways and to build community and connection in those ways. And all we have to do is become more aware of it, to become more tuned in to this understanding of wholeness, this expanded idea of wholeness, this expanded idea of the good. And when we can do that, we can really recognize the power that is within us. So founder of Science of Mind, Ernest Holmes, said, since the only life you can have is the life of spirit within you, or the universe, or God, or whatever you want to call it, you need not permit its radiance to flow through your thought in self-expression. You need but permit its radiance to flow through your thought in self-expression. You are surrounded by a dynamic force, a great surge of living power. You are immersed in and saturated with the vital essence of life. Its presence permeates everything, binding all together in one complete whole. And so when we began to recognize life as this activity of the whole, we can begin to see through new eyes. We can begin to see each other through new eyes and begin to move and build communities and relationships that are supportive not only to our wholeness, but the wholeness of others. And so that's what we've been doing this week, redefining the good, removing ourselves from the binary and looking at this idea of wholeness kind of from the 25,000 feet view. And as we begin to do this, we can begin to really understand the power of this presence that is within us all the time.